Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we are going to be doing a little continuation of a series that I did last year. So this series I did a little 0 to 100 kind of look where basically I just go all out, full glam, like just full everything, no specifics, just as glamorous as possible, every makeup you can think of. So I'm going to be doing that today, and because it's now December, we are going to be doing a little festive twist. So it's going to be full out there drag queen glam, but it's going to be, you know, Christmassy. It's going to be glittery and green and red and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into this little tutorial. But before we do, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a little thumbs up and a comment as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. So let's jump ahead into this tutorial. So before I get started, I'm going to brush all this hair back because I have a lot of hair at the moment. I'm going to use a little headband. Look, it's Christmassy and everything. Ooh, it looks like red wine. What's that film? I look like that guy off that film. Is it Rambo or something? I don't know what I don't know what film it is. I look something like that. Right, so I do eyes first. So I'm gonna go prime the eyes with the PLouise base. This is in shade number 1 because I'm very pale. And I'm just taking a little flat brush. You can use any flat brush you want. I just use this Doll Beauty one. So I just take this primer and just pat it all over the eyes, cover up all that red pigmentation, all the scarring I've got, the veins and tiredness. Also, I'm going to take the base all the way up here because we are doing a dramatic, blown out kind of eye. So take it up all the way out, even past the brow, just in case any colour goes up there. And with a fluffy brush, I'm just going to pat out that base, just blend it into the skin so there's no harsh lines, because if you don't blend it out, your foundation and this is just going to clash and you're just going to see a very sharp line. That's like my #1 tip for makeup. If you put something on, blend it out afterwards with another brush as well. That's a good tip. So for today's look, I'm going to be using a lot of green and red. So for the greens, I'm going to be taking the Worldie palette by PLouise. It's just got every green you could think of. I mean, it's got dark, light, lime green, neutral green. For the first shade, I'm just going to take the Alps, which is this very dark green here. It's like a deep foresty green. And I'm just going to start mapping out my crease with it. So I'm just going to get the shape that I want with this deep green colour. So for the inner third, I just go for this rounded kind of shape with the deepest colour, just so it kind of makes my eye look a bit more feminine, a little more, I don't know, it just looks better really. Then I start plopping on some colour at the edge. So I'm going to map out where my wing is going to go. Just a little wing of eyeshadow so it kind of pulls the face up a bit. Basically I aim for this lower corner up to where the tail of my brow is. And just take it all the way up. And now I'm just going to meet these two together. So that's a basic shape. So we've got the basic shape on, that's what I'm going to go with. And I'm going to take a little Morphe M562 and just go from side to side along these edges and buff it in. So every time I put a shade down, I blend it out with a clean brush, put another shade on top, blend that out with a clean brush. It just gets you the most soft and subtle little blend. Even though this look is not going to be soft and subtle, it's going to be like a clown basically. Christmas clown. That should be the title, Christmas clown. So now I'm going to go into another M562, another clean one, and I'm going to take the shade, I'm going to take the shade Big Apple, which is this kind of like neon green shade, and I'm literally going to put that on top of that little diffused edge. So right on top of that shade. I do it in sections as well, so I focus on this section first, get the colour on, then I move to another section, just so it gets the most colour on it once. So I'm just going to blend that out with this brush. This is an S30 from Kit Stars. And just the same blending as before, but because it's a bigger brush, you can kind of be a bit looser with it. Oh, that's a good festive green, that, isn't it? That's like the perfect Christmas tree green. Ooh. Now I'm going to go into another light green shade. So this is a shade Baggage, this one right here. This is just like your pure light green, just on the same brush that we used before, just a cleaner version. And the exact same technique as before really, just go on top of that line and blend out that shade. I think green is probably the easiest colours to do. It's one of the more impactful ones. I mean, it's definitely a statement colour for your eyeshadow, but I think it's the easiest one, to be honest. So blend that out with another clean brush. This is kind of getting boring now, isn't it? This is getting a bit repetitive. But this is literally it. It's just piling on different shades of colour, blending them out, and then putting them on again, and then you're done. It's pretty easy. So for the final blend, I'm actually going to take a yellow. Now this is from the Secret Sinner palette, which is from PLouise as well. I'm going to take this yellow called Climax, because if I go in with another green, it's going to be very monotone. So I want something that's a little bit contrasting, that can blend into the skin tone a bit, and it makes it pop a bit more as well. Just on a very fluffy brush. This is the same brush I just blended out that green with. I didn't even clean it or anything. And just basically go along that edge very softly. I'm putting no pressure on at all. This yellow is pretty pigmented. And it don't matter if you go over the top of your previous colour too much, because you're going to add it back in anyway. And it don't matter if you bring this out too much, the last shade, because you can put foundation, you can blend it out, it's totally fine. Look at that. So I'm going to do what I always do, and I go back into each colour and add it all back in, because it just makes the colours work. I mean, some of them have been blended out, so, oh my god. Because they've been blended out, there's like a loss of colour. So I'm going to go back into every shade and add it all back in. So go back into Baggage first, and I'm going to go into the Big Apple shade and put that back into the crease. Because this colour's like the main star of the show, so you want to add as much back in as possible. And then I go back into that green and blend that out again, so there's no harsh lines. It's just going back and forth until you're happy, to be honest. And for the last shade, so the deepest green, the Alps one, I'm going to go into a kind of bigger brush. This is by Unicorn Cosmetics, and I'm just going to really pack it on, because this is a shade that's been blended out the most, so this is basically gone at this point. I'm going to bring that dark colour even further up, because we're going to cut the crease, so most of that's going to disappear. So I've got to make sure that there's a lot of this deep colour in that eye. And now I'm going to go for a pinch of black eyeshadow in there, just to deepen it up, make it really contrasting, because on camera it can get a bit lost in there. So let's add some black. For that I'm going to take a PLouise Cancelled, and there's a black shade in here called Fabrication. I've got like a tower of PLouise palettes here at the moment. This isn't sponsored by PLouise, by the way, I just spent a lot of money on it. Little fluffy brush, pinch of that black, because this is very pigmented, and right on the bottom of that crease, just put some black in there, and then put some of the black shade just on the outer corner. This can act as a little liner moment. You see, it's clever. Cheating makeup, that's what this challenge will be called, cheating makeup. And then blend that out with that dark green shade. Oh my god, I've got too many palettes on this table. So there's a basic eyeshadow of the eye. That's basically done. I think it's blended enough. So now it's time to cut the crease. So I've done this eye off camera, just did a really quick job. That's why it's a bit off than this one. But I'm going to cut the crease using Vaseline. I mean, my ride or die technique for cutting the crease. So I'm going to take a big glob of this. I'm going to take it on this little peaches and cream brush. This is actually a PC54. It's like my favourite brush for cutting the crease now. So coat that brush in Vaseline. I'm going to get my mirror pretty close. And I'm just going to draw with the Vaseline where I want to cut my lid space. And every time I do a cut, I wipe it off on the back of my hand to get some more. And I take my crease quite high, because I've got very hooded eyes. If you've got hooded eyes like me, always take your crease cut way higher than your lid space. Just makes your lid look bigger, makes your eyes look bigger. Now to actually cut this crease, so to actually take the Vaseline off, I'm gonna get a little spatula. Now these you can get off Amazon. They're like £3 for this and a palette. So I'm just gonna wrap my wipe around this, because this has got a really sharp edge. I'm just gonna go in and wipe off that Vaseline, making sure that the wipe's clean every time I put it on my eye, because if not, you're just going to be smushing around wet eyeshadow. And just take the wipe on my finger and get anything on the lid. Make sure there's no Vaseline left on there at all. So that is the cut. So that's the cut crease. It is a very sharp cut crease, if I must say so myself. That technique just makes you get the sharpest cut that you could ever want. It's super dramatic. It's super just... It's just sharp and amazing, to be honest. So for the base on there, I'm actually going to take one of the pastel bases from PLouise. This is a green with envy one. It's just a pastel, very light green. Now you could just take a concealer or whatever you want this to be. I mean, if you want glitter, put a concealer on or a glitter base. I'm going to go with green, mainly for the reason that I want some kind of green undertone to the glitter I'm going to put on, just so it all kind of matches. So I'm just going to pat this green base on. This is a base as well, it's not one of them paints, because they dry matte and I don't want this to dry matte. Just go right up to that crease edge. And before that dries, I'm just going to take my finger and pat out this little edge, just so there's no weirdness when it dries down a bit, and it helps blend it in a bit better. And I'm also going to take the darker shade, the Alps, just from that Worldie palette, and pat along that edge, just to bring back that liner effect that we had earlier. And I'm going to take a smidge of the black, that's whatever's left on the brush. So I'm going to take the Big Apple shade first, pat that on that edge, blend it out. So I'm creating like a gradient on this outer corner, on this outer V, just so there's no like super harsh, dramatic line. And then taking the Baggage shade, kind of like that. So for the lid, I'm going to add a little bit of pigment. So I'm going to add this little Sample Beauty one. It's in the shade Salma. It's like a rosy, silvery gold kind of... It's just a gold glitter basically. And I'm going to take it on a Peaches and Cream brush. This brush is just... I think it's actually a pigment brush. It's meant for putting pigment on. So I'm just going to take this and pop it onto the lid. Now I use pigments instead of shimmers. I think if you're a loyal subscriber you know this by now, but shimmers just don't show up as much as pigments do. Pigments are like just pure glitter, and shimmer, it just works better in my opinion. And I'm just going to take a very flat brush, just with some of that pigment on, and go right up to that edge. Make sure you have a wipe handy, because oh my god, look, pigments like this just get absolutely everywhere, and it always gets all the way up on my forehead for some reason. So that's basically the eye done on the top. All I'd add is some line and some lashes. There is going to be a little twist on the bottom of the eyes. We're going to do some kind of red smoky thing. You know, tie it into Christmas. But for now, I'm just going to jump into the face makeup. So for skin, I'm going to go with a slightly dewy-ish, like a satin finish. Nothing too matte, nothing too crazy. Because, I mean, you don't want to be cracking up at that Christmas dinner table. Not that you'd wear this at Christmas dinner, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to take the Revolution, the XX Revolution, the posh one. I'm going to take that primer. This is a Cloud Perfecting Primer. I really like this actually. It's kind of soft. It feels like a very light moisturiser. And it does the job. I mean, it blurs quite a bit. It don't do anything spectacular like the Ordinary one or Touch and Sew one. But it's really nice. It makes the makeup sit on really well. Go up on my neck, because I've got a lot of paws and stray hairs and cats and dogs and all sorts down there. And it smells like coconut as well, which, I mean, not proper coconut. It smells like Malibu, to be honest. So I'm just rubbing that with my hand. I mean, there's no special technique with primer, as long as you get it everywhere. So now I'm going to use a new foundation on this channel. I have been using this for a little bit, you know, on Instagram and stuff. This is a Too Faced Born This Way foundation. It's not so full coverage where it's like covering everything up like what I'm used to. It reminds me of the Ordinary one, the one that's like my favourite foundation. It reminds me a lot of that. So I'm going to take it on this foundation brush. This is a PC15. It's kind of like a little paw brush. And it's pretty good. Now this shade is not light enough for me at all, but I did get this when I was a bit more tanned. But we'll work with it, ladies, we'll work with it. So just dot that foundation about, and I do big stripes on my neck, because that's where the foundation's gonna go. And then I just start patting it out. So when that foundation's all blended out the brush, I take a big Real Technique sponge with a little more foundation, because it is medium to full, it's not full, and just pat on just a little bit more. I actually really like this foundation. I mean, it's not full, it's not like concrete on the face like most drag queens use, like what I used to use, but I think it's got like a unique finish. It just kind of looks like skin, to be honest. So I'm going to take the Too Faced concealers. I'm going to take the shade Marshmallow. Now this is just my favourite concealer in a way, but with this foundation, I mean, because this concealer is meant to go with this foundation, it's the same collection, same brand, it just works the best. And I'm just going to blend that out with the sponge. Just easier to blend out concealer with a sponge. A brush, you'll be sat there forever. Now I do go in with a very light concealer. If you're new to my channel, hello. I do very dramatic contour and highlighting because I'm trying to change my shape to a more womanly kind of shape. And I'm going to take some of the shade Cloud, which is the lightest shade of the concealer, and I'm just pinching it right on that inner eye. Only there as well, because I want my under eyes to be the brightest part of my face. Now for contouring, I'm just going to take this Revolution Stick Foundation. It's in the shade F13, and I'm just going to draw some lines on my face basically. So I'm just drawing where I'm going to contour. I contour the forehead quite a bit, and my jaw as well, contour that quite heavily, because that's the manliest feature on my face. I also shape the chin, because I haven't got one, and a tiny smidge on the nose. Nothing too dramatic. I'm just going to take this big brush, this is actually from Amazon. I'm just going to buff that into the skin. I buff it with a brush first, because if you start using a sponge, it absorbs all the contour, and then you'll just end up with contour all over your face. And I do take the contour all the way down my neck. Just helps hide those 5 chins I've got. And it just looks better in photos and on stage as well. If all this is kind of contoured, it just makes it look like you've actually got a jaw. And I don't really blend this out too much. I'm going to soften it, and then I'm going to go over with a sponge and really blend it out. And for the nose, I just take a little angled brush. I'm just going to lightly pat this in. I do contour with creams with my nose, because if I use just powder, it looks really textured on me, because I've got a really textured nose. I mean, the blackheads on this, oh my god. So I do like to do cream, and sometimes I don't even do powder because the cream just looks natural enough. I mean, look at that, that nose looks pretty good. That's one of the best noses I've done. So to set the face, now we're going to set all this liquid and cream in place. I'm just going to take some RCMA powder. It's just like my go-to translucent powder. Use whatever translucent powder you want. I'm just going to take that on a very like domed under eye brush, and I'm just going to pat under the eyes first, because this is where the most creasing happens and the most fallout, and it's kind of the most noticeable feature on the face. Then I set the forehead, because that creases a lot as well, got a lot of wrinkles up there. And set my chin. So I'm just setting the highlight areas first, because the concealer will crack before the foundation does. I also set my nose, because a lot of fallout falls on my nose. Then I take a big powder brush. So I'm actually going to use a flatter one today, just so I can really pack it in. So I'm just going to pat all that powder in. I'm not using too much. I'm using like the lightest amount, because I don't want to be super matte and dry. I just want it to be set, just so it doesn't come off. It don't come off in the rain. It don't come off when my wig touches it. And then just take a big fluffy brush. This was really loose. And just dust all that off. And I'm going to quickly spritz my face with some setting spray. This is the XX Revolution Face Fix one. It's another coconut smelling spray. And this one's actually really nice. Watch the spray. So it doesn't come out like super in your face like the MAC one or the one I normally use. This one's like the Morphe one, but it's not continuous. It's really soft. And it doesn't set it matte either. It kind of just sets it and refreshes it. I think it is actually a refreshing mist. So now I'm going to further set my face with powders. I always do this, you know this by now if you're a loyal subscriber. So I'm going to take an NW15 powder from MAC. I'm just going to pat under my eyes with that same little domed brush that I used. It just brightens the face, makes it look more blurred. It further sets it as well. I'm also going to take a pinch of white, so it's a shivering white from MAC as well, just a pinch on that inner corner bit. And for the rest of the face, I'm going to take NW30, which is just like a skin tone shade, just a bit deeper. It's a bit more tan. It's just to bring the colour back from when the translucent powder took all that colour away. So I'm just patting this everywhere where I didn't highlight, over top the contours. Helps it blend out a bit as well. So for bronzer, I'm going to take the light bronzer from Doll Beauty. As you can tell, I love this bronzer. On a really big fluffy brush from Peaches and Cream, just get a load of that bronzer on. I'm just going to do circular motions all across where I contoured. So I'm just bringing that contour back. Now this is a pink undertone bronzer, not an orange one. Some people like the cool contours, you know, cool tone palettes. Some people like the orange bronzers. I like my pink ones. I think they look the most natural, to be honest. Because cool ones make you look a bit dead, and orange ones make you look a bit like Donald Trump, so. And I'm going to lightly go over my nose contour with this. This is like the perfect nose contour shade for me. So I'm just going to lightly bring back that nose contour. And I'm going to take the dark bronzer by Doll Beauty on an angled contour brush and just work that in circular motions again, just into the contour. And just pat that out with the foundation powder brush, just so it's all blended out. Now for blush, I'm actually going to use an eyeshadow. I'm going to go into the Secret Sinner one, and I'm going to take the shade Bow Down and Dreamy, which is this peachy pink and that pure orange. It's just more pigmented because blush can just fly off. You know what blush is like. I'm taking it on this really big blush brush. I'm just going to pat it on and then kind of just blend it out. And I blend it into the contour as well, just so that don't look too harsh. Take it onto the forehead, just so everything kind of matches up and everything's blended and similar. A little bit on the nose and a little bit on the chin as well. For highlighter, I'm just going to quickly spritz my face. And I'm going to go into the, what is this? Like a Diamond highlighter. I literally just picked up a Doll Beauty highlighter. Anyone will do. And just pop that right on that cheekbone there. We want to glow this Christmas. Glowy and hoey. And I just slightly blend that out with the highlight brush, just so it's not that I don't want it to shine, I just want it to be a little less textured. So now for the under eyes, so that little twist I mentioned at the beginning. I'm just going to take a little black liner first. Now this pencil is at its bitter end, I mean that's tiny. And I'm just going to go on my waterline with this first. So I put that eyeliner on and I've just smudged it out with a little brush. Now I'm going to go into some reds. The first shade I'm going to go into is Love Shy, which is this little purple one, because I need a deep shade before I go straight into red. So I'm going to go into Love Shy first on a flat brush and basically just smudge out that liner with this shade. And for the red underneath, I'm actually going to take Velvet Kiss, which is this red in the Secret Sinner palette. It's not too red, it's more of it's like a pinky red. So I'm just going to blend this out with that red shade. And I'm just going to blend that out with a little fluffy brush, making sure it's super smooth. And for the last shade, I'm going to take Dreamy, which is the shade we use for the blush. It's just this orange shade right here. So it's going to help turn that pinky red into a proper red. So just lightly dust that on top. And also the orange helps blend into the green, because it will just turn to yellow. So it all works out in the end. And then just top that off with the same yellow that we used on the top, on the same brush. Just lightly dust over that edge, just to finally blend it out. And now for a final touch, I'm just going to take a little bit of shimmer for the inner corner. I'm going to take a mixture of Public and Exclusive, which is from the Cancelled palette. It's these two little shimmers here. It's like a light peachy gold with a hint of white. I'm just going to pop that on the inner corner, just so it ties in with the shimmer on top, and it also helps bring everything together. I quickly added some liner on the top as well, and I quickly put on some mascara. The liner I used was the same liner as before. It's a liner I use all the time. And mascara, I mean, I use the Anastasia one, but any mascara is good. You don't have to worry about mascara. So now it's time for lips. So I'm going to plop on a little liner. This is Cork from MAC. Just a very deep warm tone nude. So just outline the shape. I don't even overdraw my bottom lip anymore. I used to do it all the way down here. But I don't do that anymore. In fact, I underdraw it. I kind of cut it off. Like right here. Just so it looks a bit more... It looks plumper if it's not so wide, if you get what I mean. So now the top lip, I do overdraw that a lot. Make my mark here. And then I just join that up to the corners. Now, you know what I do by now, if you watched my videos before. I take a wipe. I just wipe off the foundation on my lips. Because I have very dry lips in a way, but when you put foundation and powder and all that stuff on top, they become a bit, you know, crack territory, just cracks and ugh. So for lipstick, I'm going to take Doll Beauty's Come to Mama, which is just a perfect nude. And it's very matte. It just goes with everything, to be honest. And for the gloss, because we're going Christmassy, and I didn't want to do a red lip, because I'm going to do another Christmassy kind of soft glam look. So it's going to be like soft with a red lip. So today we're doing nude. So I'm going to go in with a little shimmery gloss. This is a Kevyn Aucoin Glass Glow lip gloss. And this is just super glossy. It's got a little bit of shimmer in it as well. Like a tiny bit. And for lashes today, I am going to be using some Doll Beauty ones. These are the Esmerelda and Alexandra lashes. I stacked them both together. So I'm going to quickly put these on, and I'm going to put a little... Ooh! I'm going to shove my lashes in my face, apparently. And then I'm going to put a little wig on, a little festive outfit, and I'll be back for the final look. So this is the finished look. So I've finally put on the wig, done the lashes. Now I know I wear this wig in every video. Don't even start with me. I've had this wig for like 6 months, and it's getting to that point now. It's getting frizzy. It's getting a bit wild. It's getting a bit crap. But I'm still keeping it because it takes like 3 weeks for the wig to get to me if I order a new one. So I can't be arsed waiting that long. So this is a finished look. It's a very extra Christmas kind of glam. I would wear this to the dinner table. I would wear this to Christmas dinner, not gonna lie. That would be quite fun. Me wearing this to Christmas dinner. Ooh, I'd get gravy all over this makeup. It just won't work. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you do recreate this makeup look, please feel free to tag me on Instagram at KardiBlackMUA. I love to see people's recreations, and I share them on my story and all that stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little festive glam moment. I can't wait to see you on the next video, which I hope will be a softer version, a little soft glam Christmas kind of vibe. So I'll see you all on the next video. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give this video a little like and leave a comment down below as well. So thank you guys for watching another one of my videos. I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.